Okay. I'll call the regular council meeting Tuesday, November 12th, 2024 to order. Any late items? Seeing none. Adoption of the agenda. Gotta get a mover and a seconder. Councilor Reid and Councilor Marcel. All in favor? Carried.
The first item is adoption of the minutes from the last meeting. The minutes from the regular council meeting held October 28, 2024 be adopted.
Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councilor Stanberry and Councilor Reid. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried.
And do we have any questions from the gallery on items on the agenda? From none?
Okay.
Thank you. And the first item is a presentation from Tracy Flynn from Wildsite Invermere presenting an update on the Bighorn Sheep Monitoring and Habitat Project.
Welcome, Tracy. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, council and mayor and staff. Nice to see you all again. I just wanted to stop by today and give you a little bit of update on this project because it is winding down. We've been working on it for about 2 years. And yeah, just wanted to let you know where we are. Thanks. So just a big overview. It was a $30,000 project. We got most of our money from the BC Conservation and Biodiversity Awards, another big chunk from the Columbia Valley Local Conservation Fund, which taxpayers all pay into, and thanks to Canal Flats for a portion as well. It we involved local First Nations, the Shuswap Band and the Kiskimit Band as well in the project, kept them appraised of what we're doing the entire time, as well as the local Run Gun Club, who have been monitoring the herd for way longer than us. So went out with them and learned a thing or two, and they showed us the ropes. We kind of took over from there, and we've been moving along ever since. Next. So a big part of it was volunteer monitoring. That's our truck with the little sign on the back. We did get the sign printed because some of the locals were wondering why this truck was creaking through the neighborhood. So that made it a little easier, and it also made it easier to engage people and get out and talk to them as well. Volunteers came from far and wide, including the group there on the right. Those are international students that are here in Invermere studying. So they came out for the day one day, and they were blown away by the beauty of the area in which we live in. One girl just walked down the path filming the entire time. She says, I'm in the forest, I'm in the forest. So it was pretty cool to have them. Next, we put up some trail cams in Columbia Lake Provincial Park on those cliffs on the northeast side of Columbia Lake. With permission from Columbia Lake Provincial Parks, we caught all kinds of wildlife, including a moose. Who would think that a moose would be up there in those cliffs? Bears, lynx, coyotes, foxes, and sheep. Next. Another part of it was invasive species weed pulls with East Kootenay Invasive Species Council. These pictures are at Canal Flats, you'll recognize. You had a fair bit, and you still do, a fair bit of knapweed along the road that's going to Tilly Memorial Park. The main road, it's Granger, is that what it's called, this one?
Yes.
In particular along the pathway, but we pulled a lot. I think we got about 15 bags that day. And then we celebrated with a picnic lunch at the end. Part of the funds that we got also went to some mechanical spraying along the east side of Columbia Lake on the Crown Land. Next. That's weed pulling on the north end of Columbia Lake. Don't worry, that's not a volunteer. I didn't ask anybody. That's me. So I was up after some mullein that was up pretty high. Fair bit of knapweed on on the roadway going into Columbia Lake Provincial Park in particular, where people are putting their boats in. Why are invasive species important to worry about for sheep? Because it's not really good forage for them. If they end up eating that, they don't get a really good diet. They don't end up being very healthy. They walk through it, it spreads. And knapweed in particular will kill all plants around it. It kind of puts a poison out through its roots. So kind of nasty, and we want to get rid of it. Next. The province of BC, the Habitat branch asked us to do some habitat surveys or weed surveys along the foreshore. That was an amazingly fun job, loved it. We did some via paddleboard. On the right-hand side, you can see the paddleboard. We did the south end via paddleboard. The advantage of that was you could stand up high and see the shoreline a little easier. And we moved from Tilly north along the east shore on kayaks. So we did that in a couple of days stretches. Went out there and just had a wonderful time. I saw this beautiful elk one morning, and it was really great. Next. Generally, everything's in quite good shape. As I mentioned, there's a few weeds on the foreshore along the south edge. There's some thistles at the end of the airport there, and there's knapweed in the southwest corner where the road comes into the private boat launch. So overall, pretty good shape. Just a few spots that will need to get hit. And I know the town also always sprays that boat launch area as well, don't they? So yeah, we just have to, I think the town might be missing where it comes down onto the foreshore along the lake, and we don't want to spray that, so we'll probably go back and pull that next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, because the seeds stay in the soil for about 5 years. Next. We spent some money on signage. One of your local fellows here built that sign on the right, the frame for it, and got the boot brush, and he's located it along this walking path next to those other signs. So that one's been installed. We've got one more sign waiting for Tanana input, and it will be going along Camp Road here that goes out to the tower, just to tell people about invasive species as well. Next. Education and outreach. I don't know what I liked better, being outside looking for sheep or teaching the kids. We showed up at Canal Days and had a little booth and had quite a few kids come through. And then I went to Martin Majot Elementary School and taught all the grades at different times, all about sheep, like from basic, what's a ewe, what's a ram, to how far can they see? That's what they're doing here, because we can kind of only see our peripheral vision about here, but sheep are way back here. So that's what they're learning there. Next. They also learned that sheep are really good balancers. They can balance on a tiny little beam like that without falling off. And the boy that's in that picture is carrying weights to kind of show how heavy the horns are, so they can not only balance, but they carry those horns. And that's Kelsey on the right, showing the students some horns. And today, I went to the preschool and talked about the kids there. Went for a little walkabout, great fun. I've got to say the preschool kids were better behaved than church. 5, 6, 7 kids. They were a handful. But as long as you kept them moving, they were good. Yeah, next. So this is our finale. It's going to be next Wednesday, calling it the Bighorn Bash. It's at your Canal Flats Civic Center. Free entry, door prize we're giving away. Leslie Cartwright did that lovely painting there of the Bighorn sheep. So come and you might win that to put on your wall. There's appetizers. There will be all kinds of displays and booths, and lots of people there that have been involved and have been helping make this project a success. Where we're going next is probably we'll continue with the volunteer monitoring in conjunction with the Rod and Band Club. It looks like a Kiskanik band is interested in collaring a few sheep, and finding out where they are. We have never seen great numbers of sheep. Most we've seen is about 50. And we were expecting 100 to 120. So we don't know if they're just not there or we just haven't seen them. So if we can put some colors on them and find out where they're moving and then see where they are at certain times, we can send volunteers in instructions and get a better count. Coloring can be stressful, it can be dangerous, but it will be done, with conjunction with the vet and done properly and monitored by the provincial biologists. Any questions?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tracy. Is there any questions?
Just a comment, I just want to say thank you very much for all that you do for the sheep. I know you're a big part of the Wilderness Club as well, you and Gordon Gold. Thanks for all that you do for the sheep out here, you do a great job.
Well, it beats sitting on a computer.
Anybody else?
Just, there's notices in the newsletters and doing it. Somewhere we gotta find a better way to get notices out to people like these things somewhere.
Yeah, I put a bunch of signs up today. I put about 10 up. I put one up at the school and, the grocery store, the post office outside your door. But
I
yeah,
was trying to remember if I put it in my calendar.
it'd be great if we had a lot of people come. I think, one of the most beneficial things is education, right? Telling kids, if you see a sheep lying down, they're having a rest, and they're having a rest for a reason. You don't want them to stand up. If they're standing up, you're getting too close. Or like don't go pet them, or don't let your dogs chase them, or don't go too close in your quads and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Excuse me for a minute. Let's take it down. Sit down, people.
No. Okay, I just.
So your son is famous now?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, there's some miscommunication. So the next item is the quarterly report from the Columbia Valley RCMP. The second quarter report prepared by Sergeant Ed DeYoung, Detachment Commander for the Columbia Valley RCMP, be received for information.
Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councilor Reid and Councilor Stanberg. Any discussion on that?
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. So there was a bit of miscommunication between myself and and Sergeant DeYoung. So I received an email on Friday asking if he could come make a presentation next meeting. So if council wishes for him to come next meeting to discuss this, or we can just receive the report and hope that the next quarter could have a presentation. So it's up to
Okay,
council.
so what's your guys' wishes? What would you like?
I can just receive the report, I'm good with that.
Everybody? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Carried.
The next item is the 2025 schedule of council meetings, that the 2025 schedule of regular council and committee of the whole meetings be adopted.
Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councilor Stanberg, Councilor Reid. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried.
And we're into bylaws, that the Village of Canal Flats Cross Connection Control Bylaw number 276, 2024 be read 3 times.
Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councilor Whitesell and Councilor Reid. Any discussion?
For the whole bylaw,
Pardon me?
like discussion over the whole bylaw?
Yeah.
Yes, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is a new bylaw, correct, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
And with it, one of the things that I read through this is that one of the new implementation standards are going to be that backflow preventers are tested yearly on irrigation and for home connections. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, go ahead.
If I may, thank you, Mayor Doherty. At the moment, it's for industrial, commercial, and irrigation, not homes.
So Okay, so it's only for industrial, commercial and irrigation on residential homes or commercial irrigation?
Irrigation, both, sorry.
Okay, how does the village plan on enforcing the compliance with annual testing of that stuff?
It's a good question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Once this bylaw is adopted, then we will amend the municipal ticketing bylaw, and those that are not compliant will be subject or may be subject to a municipal ticket. And then council will decide what the fee or fine will be.
So if I can reiterate, just for the public's sake, that I believe that the bylaw says that our works department will have the right to enter somebody's property or go on somebody's property to check the tags whenever they want. And then they will look to see what the date is on that tag. And if it's not compliant, I imagine a warning will be issued, and then if necessary, a fine thereafter.
Yeah.
Just a couple of,
Yeah, go ahead.
do we have anybody trained at this point in time for the work that has to be done? Just ask for trained people in this pension assembly tester.
Yeah, go ahead.
Literally, I think Mr. Keeler is being trained for that. Is that?
Sure.
Course.
Yes.
Yes. So we're in the works.
Okay, is that on this year's budget or is that how detailed is the course? Is it an online course? Do they have to travel somewhere, take this course?
For a week.
Go on for a week, okay.
Or Vernon, sorry.
Anything further?
Do we have any idea how many properties that have both village and private water on them? Because that's basically where you get your cross connection.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, go ahead.
If I may, yes, we do, but I don't have that information off the top of my head, but we did have to provide it to MTS to help prepare the programs.
Is it 1, 10, or?
Well, the village alone has 10. So, there'd be a few.
That's
Oh.
66 registered wells in Canal Flats.
Sorry,
66 registered wells in Canal Flats.
okay, are they within the water service area?
Yeah, within the water service area.
Yeah, because some of the ALR probably.
Yeah, like on Bailey Groman, there's a few properties that don't. So there's maybe 3 or 4 wells out there that aren't, but most of the wells are actually
Down here.
within this downtown.
But in the wells, do the properties have the well and
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, anybody within this downtown corridor has
that's the
Well,
village
I-
one?
municipal water.
Yeah, okay.
So of the new rules that are coming down the pipe, these are some of the bylaws we are gonna have to put in.
So, and I guess it just, like, these are private wells, are they being used or are they just wells that were dug because you did 10 years or 20 years ago? Are they actually using the wells?
I'm not sure. Go ahead.
Me, through you to Councillor Marcel. Yes and no, some are not. It depends. It depends on each property, and some don't have accessible water or don't have the water service in front of their property. Some have municipal water to the house, but they have irrigation from a well. So we have most of those identified, but yes, so it's all over the map on how those wells are being used.
Because that's really the basis of this cross contamination.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons that we have to do this
Renee,
now. Yeah, go ahead.
did we kind of use another municipality's bylaw as a guide for this?
Did we?
If I may, MTS prepared the bylaw actually, so they may have a template that they use, and then together with Public Works and myself and them, we finalized it.
Okay.
Anything further? All in favor? Carried.
The next bylaw is the Village of Canal Flats Sewer Frontage Tax Amendment Bylaw number 280, 2024, be read 3 times.
Yeah, I got a mover and a seconder. Councillor Reed and Councillor Stanberry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Did we move except the first one?
Yeah.
We just had a discussion, I didn't know, took a vote.
Yeah,
Was moved by Councillor Whitesell and Councillor Reed.
Okay, thank you. Move it along, tune up my ear. My hearing aids.
there.
yeah, go ahead.
So the reason for this, this frontage increase from $2.54 to $2.92 per frontage foot, beginning for this upcoming tax year, January 1st, 2025. It is stating in the agenda that this is because of, we had to borrow $250,000 from MFA for a sewer treatment plant upgrade and flood protection project. Can you please remind or just inform some of us about what particularly was done for that sewer treatment plant upgrade and the flood protection project?
Okay, I'll have to go through Sylvie.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Yes, to Councillor Whitesell. So this is the sewer lagoon, the new liners for the sewer lagoon, the desludging that happened earlier this year or in the summer. And the dike improvement that's going to go along the sewer lagoons. And so this went to alternate approval process and council initiative in 2020 and was approved by the electorate, and therefore we waited to hear back for the grant. And once we received the grant, then this $250,000 was the village portion together with those other amounts.
Okay.
For our portion of the grant. And so the money has been applied for. Council earlier this year requested the grants be released from MFA through the regional district of East Kootenay. It's all a big process, and now we need to repay the loan.
Okay. Now it's my understanding that we've only done the desludging. We have not put in new liners. Is that correct?
Yes,
But all the desludging is now done.
yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So there's this other work, there's new liners going in, there's some pumping work, some electrical work. Have those all been done? No.
Not yet, no.
Have we put it out for bid?
Not yet, no.
So how do we know how much money we're gonna need?
Well, that's what we borrowed, was $250,000.
But how much do you need?
Oh.
If I may, this is in the grant, so I can give you the breakdown here.
I've got that, but.
Yeah, so that's what we have.
Yeah, and that's
And
what we're hoping the bid will come in at.
Yeah,
So if the bid doesn't come in.
Then we have,
It's $100,000 higher, or $50,000 higher, what do you do then?
well, I guess we go back to the drawing board and figure out what we can do. Or we'll go and ask for more.
I was wondering why we did this before we put the bids out, so you need to know, how much money to finance.
oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this was based on 2020 numbers. And because if we would not have received the grant, we would not have borrowed the money. The money would have just got, the process would have stopped there. So because we received the grant, then we proceeded with the 250.
Yeah, but you're not answering my question. If you put this out to bid, you have, how much, where?
Over $1 million, yeah.
$400 million. And it comes in at $100,000. Why wouldn't you put it out for grant and find out how much money you have? Because if this gets locked in,
Yeah,
and then you got $100,000 short, then either your work doesn't happen, or you're back to the finance people.
go ahead.
The amount requested from the funders was based on an engineering report through Urban Systems. That's how it's done. And you can't get a contract unless you have the funds. They won't give you. That's all engineered. And if the bids come back higher than the funds that we have, then we'll have to reassess at the time, which is what happens with any kind of grant. This is the process of how it is done.
But this is a loan, not a grant.
This is the village portion of the grant.
Yes.
So the grant amount is it has already, it's,
Yeah.
over $1 million. And we had to
So-
come up with 20%. So together with, gas tax of $106,690.
Yeah, no, I got all those numbers.
So if it does come back more, then perhaps we increase the gas tax, that might be a budget item. Or the asset management reserve fund, maybe there's money in there to fill in. We would just have to sharpen our pencil and and see how much over it is.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because a large portion of the scrap that you talked about here is the dike.
Yes,
So can you use money from, instead of building a 4-foot dike, build a 3-foot dike, use it on sewage lagoons?
Don't know.
we don't know yet. We have to talk to the provincial government about that, because they're the ones who determine how high the dike has to be.
So we really, if you put this out to bid, the prices that were quoted in 2020.
Yes,
I'm sure that they're not gonna be the same as looking at.
go
I
ahead.
mean, one good thing is that the desludging came in half of what was quoted.
That's good.
So
Yes.
that has given us a little bit more
Yeah, I
wiggle
just-
room there.
I
So
just wanted
hopefully
to-
that trend continues.
I was just thinking that maybe we jumped the gun a little bit on borrowing 250. You don't know exactly how much you're going to.
Well, we do need 250, because that's what the grant money is.
And if I may,
Yeah.
the time was ticking also. The bylaw is only valid for 5 years. If we would have waited longer, then the bylaw we would have had to go back to the electorate. That takes more time and more funds. And so
Thank you, that's information.
It
I'm
was-
looking for.
to get the grant or to get the borrowing done before the day as well.
So just see how much it costs us to do it when it comes time to. Good, but then at least we were in with it in timeline, and that's valid information. Thank you.
Anything further? All in favor? Carried.
And the last bylaw is the revenue anticipation bylaw, that Village of Canal Flats revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw number 281, 2024 be read 3 times.
I got a mover and a seconder. Councilor Whitesell and Councilor discussion.
Moved every year.
Anything? Okay. All in favor? Carried.
And now we will convene to in camera, under section 91C labor, that the meeting convenes in camera per community charter section 91C labor at 7 PM sharp.
I got a mover and a seconder. Councilor Whitesell, go for the read. All in favor?